see, when the pain goes deep, you need an IV. Boombaye, El Che to Ali. It's all good, Jamaica say I'm Ari. No, that's not me, it's all irony. I'm trying to be down to earth, India Irie. Without the oils and beats, but where I'm free from the wars and haters trying to stop me.
Guys, what is up? Welcome to another episode of Maximilian Must Know. This is going to be a review for you, and today we're taking a look at a fragrance from the house of Heusler, and it is called Sander for Men. Now, you guys know whenever we talk about a house for the first time, I like to give a little bit of backstory in the house, so let's get into Heusler. This is a German fashion house started by Heusler. She was a textile design student who spent some time in the United States via a foreign exchange program. She graduated in the early 60s with a degree in textiles and worked at a German fashion magazine, then opened a boutique in Hamburg when she was just 24 years old, and she sold clothing from hip designers like Sonia Rykiel and Terry Mugler. Some pieces she sold were pieces that she made herself. She created her first formal line in 1973 and launched the brand in 1978. Now, if you've ever looked at her clothing for men or women, it has this very cool German sort of minimalism, very precise lines, industrial colors, luxurious materials, and she developed a real cult following in Europe. Her company went public in 1989 and allowed for worldwide distribution and a foray into menswear. Sander retired from the company in 2000, came back in 2003 after they endured some difficult times, but then retired again in 2004 when Raf Simons took over. I think he did some really amazing things, including a really cool collaboration with Uniqlo. I believe Heusler was probably not the first, but definitely one of the first designers to do a full collection with Uniqlo, and Heusler herself participated in that collection. Raf Simons left a couple of years later, and the current creative directors are Luke and Lucy Myers. Now, as far as fragrance goes with this house, they were pretty much into fragrance from the start. They released two fragrances called Pure Woman and Pure Man, both in 1979. They were later rebranded Sander 79 Men and Sander 79 Women. As of now, the company is licensed through Coty, and there are over 70 fragrances in their archive. This is the only one that I own, and I think the only one that I've ever tried, if I'm being honest. I would love to get my hands on Sander Man Absolute, which Terry Wasser created in 2008 and has notes of oud, violet, and leather, but it's basically impossible to find. Other than that, I'm not going to go crazy trying to get any fragrance from this brand, but I'd be interested in smelling more. I bought this one because I wanted a fragrance from this house, and this seemed like a good deal, and I'm a big fan of the nose behind this one, so let's get into it. Sander for Men came out in 2000. The perfumer, Jacques Cavalier, I'm sure you guys know him. He's the nose behind Aqua for Bulgari, M7 for YSL, Reed Gauche for YSL, Indonesian Oud for Xenia. Many fragrances that I really like. Reed Gauche is one of my favorites of all time. And the notes on this one are cinnamon, ivy, and mint at the top, nutmeg, coriander, cloves, pepper, and cardamom in the middle, labdanum, cypress, sandalwood, cedar, and tobacco in the base. I paid $23 for 125 ml on Amazon, and you can find this for as low as $20 online for the same size bottle. So if this is one you're looking to get your hands on, go for it, as it is super affordable. Now, as far as what's the bottle like, it's really pretty freaking cool. You could sit it like this. You got that Sander for Men, or the back is sort of ridged so that it could sit up, and the front kind of sits off the ground. So that is neat. I do have to say, it's got a slanted cap, and then the sprayer is really good. So for me, kind of that Sander, cool aesthetic, simple but elegant, and just cool. Just a really cool presentation. You have Sander for Men there and a sticker on the bottom. So this is neat. And the box, which I lost, is kind of slanted as well. It's funky, and I dig it. So spray this one on, and what you're going to get is sort of a green, watery, minty accord. Now, some folks on Fragrantica attribute this to ivy. And Ivy is a fantasy note. So this is really a green accord that is mostly mint. And I love mint scents. The problem here is that the mint really isn't in your face and embracing like it is in Geranium Pour Monsieur. And it's also not watery and refreshing like Mont Fresh or Moss and Mint. It's kind of synthetic and cheap. You do have some pepper, woods, and light spice sort of backing this mint ivy accord. And I swear that I smell a dot of citrus at the top, but very little, and it's not a huge part of the scent. As this dries down, it does like sweeten up a bit. There's some cinnamon and sandalwood in the heart, but again, it smells very, very cheap. It smells like a sample of a fragrance in a magazine when you rip the strip open, and after a few days, like all those pieces of paper smell exactly the same, and this smells like one of those pieces of paper to a T. Fresh, bright, a little bit sweet and woody. This is not going to make you excited in any way whatsoever. Performance, I mean, look, it's not 4711, but it's not that much better. You're going to get 4 to 5 hours at best, probably 3 of projection, and there's not a lot of nuance. I mean, as I said, it does sweeten up through the dry down, but it really retains that sort of fall ivy mint accord for most of the length of the fragrance. This could be unisex, but it has a good deal of that blue men's bologna cologne feel to it. I think in an ideal world, this is a great scent for a high school or college kid to wear to class. It's just an everyday, fresh, sort of non-intimidating fragrance. Are there better? Yeah, but for $20, it's not a horrible deal. Now, if you're looking for something similar but you want to upgrade, I think Gucci Pour Homme 2, which also doesn't perform well on me, is a much better version of this. It's also more expensive, but it's more complete and it smells similar. Also, 212 Men by Carolina Herrera does this sort of green, watery accord much better than this. It's really rather brilliant compared to this. Again, probably double the price, but I feel like well worth it. If someone were trying to talk you into purchasing this fragrance, I think they would say that it's cheap, the bottle design is really cool, it's not going to offend anyone, and it's got a little bit of uniqueness to it. On the flip side, I think someone would ask you, why would you possibly choose this? And you could completely lose this in a sea of blue, no pun intended, a sea of blue colored fragrances. For me, guys, this was not Mr. Cavalier's finest hour. It's not a horrible scent by any stretch of the imagination. It smells good. It's kind of unique. There's a cool design here, but for me, someone who's 39 and into trying to find interesting and unique fragrances, this is a dud. And I don't want to say I regret buying it because it was cheap and I got my foot in the Heusler door, but why would I ever choose to wear this? And why would anyone who has a modicum of knowledge about fragrance or a somewhat diverse collection wear or recommend this? I don't know the answer to those questions. If there were ever a fragrance that deserved a 5 out of 10 rating, my God, is this it. It's the definition of mediocre. Nice bottle, blue juice, pleasant scent, but it will interest no one ever. If this scent piques your curiosity, I have to think that a shiny object waved in front of your face would as well. Alright guys, that is it. That is my review of Heusler for Men. I hope you've enjoyed this review. I will be back next week with more videos. Guys, you already know what it is. My name is Maximilian.
What happened to Garbage? What happened to Gang? What happened to T.I.P. and Dr. Kang? This is that anguish, this is that pain. This is why Prince sing about Purple Rain.